funny, but I'm worried that other people won't get it. Like my mother-in-law won't get it, or people in Arkansas won't get it, like less sophisticated people wouldn't get it. And even though the image showed a flag burning in the chimney, or even though there was a portrait of Osama bin Laden on the wall of the White House, they weren't sure that other people would get it. But I'm very proud of the fact that we published this image. Did not issue an apology. My poor boss had to go on television and be called a Nazi by Wolf Blitzer while his mother watched. But we still didn't publish an apology. But the New York Times mentions this as one of the most important images of the campaign. And I do believe that images like this can serve as inoculations, that they can shine light on the dark part of our collective unconscious. It doesn't have to be a caricature to be effective, but I think that there is a way in which the images have to be honest and come from a place of emotion. So we waited until the actual election in 2008 when Barack Obama was elected. This is a sketch that was selected by Bob Stack, and it captures that sense of a historic moment. It's great how an image so spare can say so much with so little. When we were preparing for the 2016 election, we knew that half the country would be in despair, no matter what the results would be. So this is the image we run the week that we were voting. We just didn't think that the half that would be in despair would be us. So we had prepared a cover for the election of what we thought would be the first woman president, and this, of course, never ran. But right after the election, this is what we published, and it captured the feeling at the time of being flattened and paralyzed. And by the way, this is by the same artist, Bob Stack, who did the Lincoln Memorial. Like, we didn't know how to move forward. And for me, I was paralyzed and flattened, but fortunately, I was able to find my footing through publishing and getting a newspaper printed. I worked with my daughter, Naja, who had been influential when we did blown covers. And I was offered to edit a newsprint giveaway that we could give during the march, the Women's March in Washington and throughout the country. So we put together an open call website on a Tumblr called Resist Submission. And we got like 2,000 or 3,000 calls from mostly women. We ended up getting some men's submission, but we didn't want to discriminate, so we put a manscaped section in the back because we didn't want to stand out through exclusion. And then we did a second issue in July of that year, and it was truly grassroots. Like, women wanted to talk about themselves, about their bodies, about their rights, about their actions, their reactions, their feelings. It had contributions from well-known artists, but not just. I mean, it had a lot of people. This was the first published drawing by a young painter. The drawing in the middle here was by a 14-year-old. There were librarians and teachers, nurses, scientists, bankers. Collectively, the women didn't so much denounce Trump as celebrate the values that unite us. So it renewed my faith in the power of drawings, and one of the artists that I discovered through Resist ended up doing this image for the cover of the issue that came out right after the Women's March. And I was taken to task at some point by a journalist who asked me, like, you know, but do you think it's okay to have a white woman, an artist from Maine, white, portraying a black woman? And my answer is, you know, basically by any means necessary, but also covers are not just reflecting the world around them. There's a way in which they are aspirational, and this is, you know, what we wanted to rally against, rally around. This was a response that David Frankert said as a light touch on a subject that's extremely scary, came in as a rough sketch, and then I looked at his posters work and I was reminded of Tommy Anger's work from the 60s, and that's where I was inspired to come up with a color. But I love the fact that this wasn't just portraying Donald Trump as a member of the KKK as much as it was talking about how he was using the KKK. Plus, the checkers pointed out that if you're in a sailboat and you blow on the sail, you're not going to get anywhere, especially if there's holes in the sails. And Frankert pointed out, the artist, that to give this sense of the lone little man lost in the middle of nowhere, he had very carefully not finished the horizon line. When there was a Kavanaugh hearing, this is a cover by Anna Juan, and she said she speaks for the women who have no voice. I think it's important to not just represent diversity, but to have diversity. This is Barry Blitz's cover published right after the November election when the Democrats regained control of the House. And again, the magic of a simple pen line with just a few touches of watercolor manages to express so much complex emotions. What Blitz said was, in all the rancors of the past few weeks, it appears that we have lived through a nice moment. And I think those are, a lot of people reblogged and reposted this image, and that's an important thing to keep in mind, that they can serve as rallying points for remembering good things as well. So over the decades, Eustace Tilley has been shown as us, as a woman, or as a black man painted by Kelly Nelson, or as a dog photographed by William Wegman. But since you're all design professionals, I think you need to know the truth. And here tonight, I will reveal the true face of Eustace Vladimirovich Tilley, who is the one that owns us all. So that's pretty much it. I think, free press is essential.